I'd like to call the September 6th Common Council meeting to order. It is 5:59, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilwoman Ficus.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Clerk Treasurer Parthun.
Councilman Frankie.
Present.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Present.
Councilman Vincent.
Here.
Councilman Galloway.
Here.
Councilwoman Cutler.
Present.
Councilwoman West is not present. And Councilman Konechny.
Present.
6 present, 1 absent.
Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes is presented. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Petitions and comments of citizens, and if could everybody make sure they have their phones on mute, please. And first, and when you come up, please state your name and address for the record, and Spencer England, flag presentation.
3 minutes.
And there is a 3-minute maximum and no derogatory attacks on individuals. Thank you.
Sir. Council, how are you? Spencer England, 516 East Street, LaPorte. I have actually some handouts here for
Okay.
those on the council. If you mind, I can
That's
give
fine.
them a copy. This was a Supreme Court ruling that just came through in May of this year regarding flag presentations and how they are constitutionally allowed. I just wanted you to maybe take a look at this, and I'm sure the attorney here probably knows about it, but I'll give him a copy, he can at least look at it. So the Supreme Court has ruled that basically cities cannot arbitrarily decide when and where they're going to fly flags. It has to be lawfully presented in very specific details. And I just wanted to make you guys aware of this because there are groups that are looking to have their flags presented here in the city and in cases. And in some cases, many people, it's not just small groups, but these small groups represent large amounts of people. And again, this just came out probably a month after we heard about the flag issue in June, I believe it was. Might have been July. But I just wanted to ask if we have an ordinance in the city currently that specifically details the flying of where and when and why for any flag at all. I just thought I'd see if I got a response, and if not, maybe consider that, because I know there's some groups looking to consider legal action just like in Boston, and I just want the city to be protected on that aspect, but also if you are arbitrarily making a decision to fly a flag, just remember there's a lot of people out there that want their flags flown, and there's a lot of cities that are considering going neutral because they don't want to represent in whole certain groups. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Questions?
Are you saying a flag ordinance for anywhere or just in?
Well, and when it comes to representing the city as a whole,
Yeah.
the city has to look at the effect of who they're representing, and does the city want to take that in consideration that they feel that they, are going to represent that group of people when they're flying a flag or presenting a flag? Because obviously, we're not going to shoot in the dark here. I don't know about my time, but there's a group that's looking to have a Christian flag laid out at a certain month of the year. Now, like it or not, a lot of our laws came from Judeo-Christianity in America, okay? So it's not, there's no hate, there's no disagreement on other groups having that, but if we're going to fly certain flags, you have to fly their flag as well. And they've been kind of shot back and forth between the diversity and inclusive group, which really will not make a decision for the city. It's the city council. This is going to come back around to you. And I just want to make sure that we're going to be legally prepared for these situations.
Thank you.
Some of the attorneys from Boston have been notified and talked to about the situation. Just want to make sure it's
Well,
taken care of.
have them reach out to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Very good.
Spencer. Next, Donna Johnson, and again, state your name and address for the record, please.
Donna Johnson, 1037 Indiana Avenue, LaPorte. I'm here tonight to talk to the council about our city and how healthy it is. And the health of the city is only as healthy as the people that live in it. Crime, drug abuse, overdoses, deaths, depression, our suicides, these things all tear down and destroy a city. In contrast, our Christian community seeks to build...
Donna, I'm sorry, could you speak up?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
In contrast to the destruction that is happening because of crime, suicides, we all know our heart breaks. I'm so saddened by the crime and the suicides and just the overall lawlessness that we see throughout our nation. It's tearing us all apart, and that really saddens me. In contrast, I believe that our Christian community seeks to build up and improve the lives of those around them. Christians are made up of different social and ethnic backgrounds, yet as ambassadors for Christ, they seek to be a benefit and good shepherds to the community, and this is a common desire that they have. There's a lot of different denominations here in our city. We could be the city of the Maple City, but we also could be the city of churches. There's a lot of them. I live among them. Our city benefits from the food drives, food pantries, shelters, secondhand stores, counseling, youth activities. They visit and minister to the homebound, the sick in our hospitals, and those in our jail. These things contribute to the physical, material, and spiritual needs of those around us. And at the very heart of our city is a strong Christian presence. I believe that I have benefited from those things. I would like our city to acknowledge this contribution and ask the council to vote on setting aside the month of either March or April as Christian Heritage Month, the time when remembrance is made of the death and resurrection of Christ. Nobody has sent me, no church has asked me to do this, because good deeds are their own reward. We all know that. I request it because I've been blessed by and I'm thankful for people who contribute their time and talents to the benefit of others, to live a peaceful life. I see our city mural. It depicts all these different wonderful things and even has our most villainous person depicted there. And yet, as I looked there, I didn't see one little tittle of things about the fact that this community and communities throughout our nation, their foundation, a lot of it has been Christians in the community. They are all around us. I'm sure you are. I am enjoyed by people on the council that participate in some Christian thing. So that's all. I thank you very much for your time, and my prayers for our communities around the nation. And there's a copy.
Thank you, Donna. Questions for Donna? Thank you. Kaylin Deckard, Airport.
Good evening. Kaylin Deckard, Scipio Township Trustee, 1482 West 500 South. Just want to say thank you to all you guys on listening to me at the last meeting that I was up here speaking with. I want to say thank you to Ed Volk for giving me a great tour of the airport and the history of the airport and when it first came and what it stands today. Just a couple more comments. Again, just remember the fire department. That's right there at 250 South when we are constructing this. I did speak with Mr. Volk on maybe another access road just for the fire department, but just let's keep that in mind because we do need our volunteers to get to their, places of need and time. The other thing I just kind of want to say, when it does come to land like this, it doesn't matter if it's Scipio Township, if it's Kankakee, if it's Center, if it's Pleasant, we all border city limits. Just if there could just be communication between the township trustees, I would greatly appreciate it. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to add to Kaylin, I'd like to thank Center Township. Andy Snyder, they had the fire on 18th Street, and Center Township was able to bring the second aerial truck, which helped keep the fire from expanding even further, and with the city of LaPorte. And when we talk about water, that's why you've never heard us on 39 North discuss firefighting, any issues about paid volunteers. But can you imagine if that fire happened without the flow system that the city of LaPorte has? And that's right there why we've been driving for public safety and to make sure the infrastructure is upgraded at 39 North, because that could have been a dire situation, and we appreciated Center Township coming over to help and work together with our firefighters, so we appreciate and we know the same would happen in Scipio.
We're all a team. So we all
Absolutely.
have to help out no matter what township we live in, if it's city or anything. We're all one big group, and we always have to help each other out. That's one thing that me and Mr. Volk did talk about. If there was anything to ever happen at the airport, the township's right there. We have the tankers. We can take care of anything that needs to be done. So we have a good working relationship. We want to continue that. But just overall, when stuff happens like this, just reach out to the trustees, and we can figure it all out, so.
Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.
Questions? Now we have, Mark Schreiber's going to take a public comment moment to recognize somebody here.
Come up, please. We had the privilege at our August Park Board meeting to recognize and present a plaque to Pam Carroll, who is our Recreation Director, on the celebration of her 40 years of service with the Park Department. Oh, boy, I'm sorry, I'm out of
Only
time.
had
After 40 years, we deserve a few extra
Yeah.
minutes, I hope. But Pam first started, actually, part-time as a concession stand worker, and full-time she started in July of 1982 in the office. Served many years as our office manager. It was just an amazing office manager for us, and for those of us that know the Park Department, our office manager is really what keeps things going, what keeps the glue to bring everything together. So she did that fantastically, and then became our Recreation Director in August of 2015. And as Recreation Director, she has raised the level of so many of our long-standing programs, but introduced new enrichment classes, new fitness classes, listened to the community, and really brought a lot of new things to the quality of life of our community. So we couldn't be happier to celebrate this with her, but we wanted to recognize her tonight in front of the City Council as well, Pam, for her 40 years of service to our community. So.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the kind words. Thank you for inviting me to participate in your meeting. I know they get long, and I don't want to be long-winded at all. It's been my pleasure to work for the city of LaPorte for 40-some years now. Like Mark said, I started as a concession worker and moved my way up the ladder, and I'm not taking Mark's job, just so everybody's clear on that. This is as high as I go. I want to thank my team that I work with every day. They are the best team ever. They are what make every single day fun to come to work, and they make my job much easier. All of the volunteers that work underneath me, I want to take a minute to thank them. It's an enormous amount of pressure that's taken off of me by the amount of volunteers, hundreds that take part in our activities every year. I want to thank all of you again, and thanks for taking a minute to celebrate my 40 years.
And I just want to say,
Oh, yeah, my guy over there.
None of us can do without our support.
That's true, my family, they're the best too. Chuck and I, we're empty nesters now, but he's always there to support me in everything I do.
and anybody that saw Pam participate with the kids in the foam machine on her 40th, 39th, and 40th year knows her passion for the city of
That's what I
LaPorte.
just said. Throw her in the bubble machine.
And we're fortunate to have you, so thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Mark, if you'd like, while you're here, we do have some public comment regarding the Civic Auditorium, so if you just want to continue on.
We do, and with that additional appropriation on the agenda tonight, and considering the amount that we are asking for these continued renovations of the Civic, we thought it'd be prudent to have a few community leaders come in and speak on behalf of not just the importance of the Civic, but the importance of these type of renovations. So first, we have Maria Fruth, who is with the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. I'm Maria Fruth, and I reside very happily on 706 Fox Street in the city of LaPorte. I wanted to just bring my many years of experience inside of the Civic Auditorium. As you know, the facility is 92 years old,
And for 20-plus years, as the lead of the LaPorte Hospital Foundation, I had the pleasure of leasing the space to be able to have the Holiday of the Pops, the Foundation Holiday of the Pops, at the Civic Auditorium. We average about 2,000 attendees, give or take, every year, but it is one of those happy moments in every year of celebration for the city of LaPorte. Beyond that, for about 4 years, we continue to do the Holiday of the Pops under the sponsorship of the Healthcare Foundation, and then we pass the baton to Mr. King under the leadership, for the leadership of LaPorte County Symphony. It makes me think, remember, I worked as a fundraiser for LaPorte Hospital for over 20 years, and I often think about the incredible philanthropic spirit in this community. It's amazing, especially because I'm from the outside of the community, even though I claim LaPorte as home, have been here for 46 years, so I think I'm entitled to do so, right? But the Civic Auditorium, dedicated in 1930 as a gift to the city of LaPorte from Maurice Fox in memory of his parents, are one of those amazing philanthropic gifts to a community. And you know that he did much more than that. The Fox Park, Beechwood, several other items that the family sponsored and gifted to our community. So I feel strongly that as a community member, one of our duties, for all of us, is the duty of care, and storing this gift is extremely important, maintaining, improving, and upgrading. Things change. 92 years ago, it was okay to sit in one of those seats, but today is not a comfortable situation. Beyond that, the ability to be able to lease the space for all the umpteenth incredible, again, events that are always held at the Civic is very important, because it's a source of revenue, again, for the city and for the Civic. So upgrading would be a fantastic option, and very important to note that we have the ability to also make it ADA compliant, which is very important. Often we watched, some of us with white hair trying to maneuver the steps on the second level. Not easy, because there is nothing to hold on to. So again, our support, my family's support to the maintenance and upgrading of the Civic is, upmost on our minds. And I appreciate the time. And please continue the great job that all of you are doing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Maria.
Additionally, we have Tim King from the LaPorte County Symphony.
I'm Tim King, representing the LaPorte County Symphony Orchestra with our offices based at 102 G Street here in LaPorte. Obviously, I can mirror everything that Maria has already said. For the orchestra specifically, we're very, very happy with the addition of the new sound and lights in the Civic Auditorium. They've made a huge difference in the quality of our performances at the Civic. And I'm very, very happy to think that we could get new seating in the balcony. As you all know, most of our audience is 50 and older, and that tends to be an orchestra audience age. That's not just LaPorte, that's Chicago, that's New York, that's San Francisco. Balcony without rails are dangerous, and having newly padded seats along with the rails would be appreciated by many. As some of you may or may not know, our sound goes out, but it also goes up, which means the best seats sound-wise are in the balcony. So making the seating more comfortable and safer will result in additional sales selfishly for the orchestra. And I also want to mention, during the pandemic, we were very fortunate to have 2 medical doctors in our orchestra who advised us. And the Civic Auditorium really came through for us, because the LCSO was the only professional orchestra in Indiana that played through the pandemic, and one of the very few in the country that played through the pandemic. And it was because of our ability to space 6 feet apart at the Civic Auditorium that did that. And we had no COVID cases in the orchestra in both seasons, 2021 or 21-22. I received many phone calls from orchestra administrators across the state who asked me how we were able to keep presenting concerts during that time, and I told them that they needed to find their own Civic Auditorium. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
And we also, and for those of you that may not realize this, Larson Danielson Construction built the Civic Auditorium back in the day. And Brian Larson from the Larson family is here to speak.
Thank you, Mark. I am Brian Larson at 20 Green Acres, and I'm here to advocate for those renovations and upgrades to the Civic. Before I begin, I must fully disclose I'm Brian Larson of Larson Danielson Construction. I'm an owner of that firm, and we have provided prices for Schneider Electric as part of this project. I am not an unbiased observer, and I want that fully disclosed as Larson Danielson would with any public works project of this magnitude. But I have a deep personal connection to this facility. In 1929, my great-great-uncle Emil Danielson gave a proposal for $188,500 to build the Civic Auditorium. There's a little bit of inflation since then. And my great-great-grandfather and my great-grandfather managed that work. It was completed in the 30s. In the 90s, my dad came back and he managed the renovation of the basement. And in the 90s, I took tennis lessons there, and I went to concerts. And the Civic has always been a part of my life, not just because of my family history of building it. The Parks provides an amazing service there. When the pandemic hit, my son had the sniffles, and his teacher said she had COVID. So I stood in line, and the Civic played an important part of that. We were negative that time. We've had COVID since, but we were negative. More importantly, like Mr. Gates said, during the pandemic, the Civic was the only venue for some events. And my daughter's dance studio rented the Civic out because it was all that was available. And my daughter danced on the Civic stage, the same stage that her great-great-great-grandfather built in the 30s. That meant a lot to me. Now, I say that, and my little ballerinas on my great-grandfather's stage is obviously, it's important, but I don't think it's unique for the city of LaPorte. I don't think our memories that have weaved through generations for the Civic are unique. I think you could find basketball players in the 40s whose sons played on that court, whose now maybe great-grandsons are playing at one of these tournaments that are now being had. Or members of the symphony orchestra who go back generations. It's not unique. It's a place that has provided the community with so much. And I ask you that please remember that buildings need those upgrades. I don't want the Civic to become some museum piece that my ancestors built. I hope it's a usable facility with the upgrades necessary to continue as our community center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And as you know, the Civic Auditorium was deeded and it was put into the control of the Park Department. So any work there does have to be approved by the Park Board. So we do have the Park Board President, Mitch Ficus, here tonight. Mitch, would you like to say a couple words?
Thank you. My name is Mitch Ficus. I'm president of the Park Board. I've been on the Park Board for 10 years. I live at 1328 Lakeside Street in LaPorte. And as I look at my memories of the Civic Auditorium, my father was a teacher at LaPorte High School, and he had one of the entrances on the balconies that he manned and handed out programs and kept the students in line. And I would always go to the basketball games at the high school with him. So there's a lot of memories there. And also my grandfather, who immigrated from the Austrian-Hungarian Empire after World War I, actually worked on the Civic Auditorium, and his father worked at the Fox Woolen Mills before World War I, and that's how we came to the city of LaPorte. So the Fox family, who donated that facility to the city, and you think what that facility would cost today. What would the price of that facility be? In the tens of millions of dollars to build that kind of facility today. And I think it's our responsibility as a community to keep up that facility. We have a boiler that was put in 1967. How long is that boiler going to last? What would happen if we had a Pops concert and that boiler went out the night of the Pops and we couldn't keep that building heated? And what's the efficiency of that boiler? About 20%? You know, our heating bills in the winter have to be, they can reach $10,000 to $12,000 a month just on gas in that building. And by upgrading just the boiler system, we can gain efficiencies on that that are just incredible. So I think we have an obligation to improve that facility. We, you know, through the Park Foundation, we've improved the lights, so we have a great facility. You know, the stage lighting is improved. We have LED lights throughout the facility. Of course, with the ARP money, we've got a new roof, but we also have a new sound system through the Park Foundation that is great for that facility, has really upgraded it. And you look at the things that happen in that facility throughout the week and throughout the year. I mean, you have the pottery classes, you have the ballroom dancing classes, you have the basketball rec classes, or not classes, but the rec that takes place in the evenings, you know, twice a week, where, you know, I hear that some of the basketball players are kind of aggressive, and we won't mention names of people that should be kicked out. Like, I know it because you can't badmouth anybody, but, you know, people like Tom Dermody that are too aggressive when they play basketball. But anyway, there's a lot of things that go on in that facility. It's used almost every day of the week, and it is an asset to the community. It's something that I believe that we have an obligation to maintain and to keep vibrant in our community. And it's something that's going to give back. We currently have a civic director now that is really bringing in concerts and acts and other activities that we didn't have before. You know, we have concerts that have been very successful. Of course, he's got a crack security team now, but just great things and events that are happening there through his leadership that we can continue to do now through his leadership that bring great things to LaPorte and make LaPorte a great place to be and attractive for people outside the community. We actually, you know, when I work these events, we have people coming from all over, you know, that come to these events, to these concerts, and they ask me, you know, hey, where can I go to eat? You know, where's a good place to eat? Hey, what can I do before this? You know, where's a place to go? And they've been to our parks and other things, and it's really a great asset for our community. When we had the basketball tournament and you saw the Civic Auditorium on TV, you know, it was a great thing to see, you know, because it's such a unique facility. It's not like a gym. You know, it's got a lot of character to it, and I was really proud to see that on national TV, our Civic Auditorium. So I hope you all support this. I wish we could do more for it, but this is a great step, and the seating is going to be great. It's going to be fantastic, and we're going to be able to do more. So thank you.
Thank you, Mitch.
And thank you to everybody for speaking. Our staff will be here when the agenda item comes up if the council has any questions.
I think that ends the public comment. Anybody that does not have business before the council that has spoke and would like to leave and go enjoy your evening, please feel free to do so. As I see Tim King sprinting out.
I can't sprint anymore, it's okay.
Bye, Pam.
Mr. Ficus, you're welcome to stay with your wife here as well. And I might as well add, those were Mitch's original comments, adult basketball league lessons. Those were lessons for Mr. Riley and Mr. Otis, as they've taken many notes of what's happened to them there at the Civic. So we will now move to standing committee reports. President Frankie.
The Redevelopment Commission met on August 24th. Monroe Streetscape Design update was given. There's a planning session being set up with members of the bid board and members of RDC as well to review possible designs. Clear Lake construction update was given, and construction should be starting in October with improvements along the route near the amphitheater and some other points around the lake. The parking study draft has been completed and given out to some city officials for feedback in order to finalize the draft. TIF budgets were reviewed and passed for the year 2023, and 2017 general obligation bonds were reviewed and payment was passed, and that was for some city hall renovations done at that time. A land sale was approved on the property on Boyd Boulevard, purchased for development by Jay Schaffner, and the Sustainability Committee met on August 29th. Lori Larson joined the committee, and a green infrastructure and hazard mitigation planning report was reviewed and discussed. This report was recently completed by the Illinois-Indiana Sea Grant and the Purdue University Extension. The main goal of the plan is to ensure surrounding communities have a plan to build towards making our geographic areas more resilient towards severe weather outbreaks, and hazard mitigation plans are being developed by the city as well to implement more green infrastructure throughout. The Diversity and Inclusion Committee did not have a meeting last month. They will be meeting at the end of the month, and the school board meets on September 12th, 6 p.m. at the Educational Services Center.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Okay. Park Board met on August 17th. As we all heard, Pam Carroll was recognized for 40 years of service with the Park Department. She started off as part of the seasonal concession staff and then was hired full-time in 1982. In 2015, she was promoted to Recreation Director, the position she currently holds. City Engineer Nick Minnick attended the meeting to discuss trail projects that are underway and future projects that are being discussed. Some of the projects included in the presentation were the Clear Loop Trail, the Chessie Trail Connector, and Stone Lake Trail Phases 2 and 3. There was discussion regarding the field usage fees. It was decided that they would go to a flat rate of $750 per season rather than per team. This will be for the A Street field used by the LaPorte Football Club. On Sunday, August 21st, the small watercraft launch on Stone Lake had their dedication with the help from Northwest Indiana Paddling Association. Thanks was given to the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte for funding the launch. The 10th musical instrument, this one being donated by the Visual Arts Council of LaPorte, was installed last week at the Craven Pond Trailhead. Special thanks to Michael Barris and Mark Lockhart of the LaPorte Park Department, and Tyler Smith and Kelly Galloway of Mitch Ficus Builders for the installation. And then Traffic Commission will be meeting next Tuesday, September 13th, 5 p.m. at the police station.
Councilman Vincent.
Nothing to add this evening.
Councilman Galloway.
Mayor's Veterans Committee will meet next Monday, the 12th, 5 o'clock at the Park Department. And the Police Merit Commission will meet next Tuesday, the 13th, 2 o'clock at the police station.
Councilwoman Cutler.
On the agenda tonight, there are two items regarding the Business Improvement District Board. The first is the appointment of Tommy Very to Don Melchiori's seat expiring 12/31/23 and Courtney Dickman to Erica Caney's seat expiring 12/31/22. Both seats were vacated before their terms were up. The second item is a request for appropriation of funds for additional claims that I reported on last month, covering recent repairs to planters, pavers, and the removal of electric boxes on Lincoln Way. And the next meeting of the bid board will be Monday, September 12th at 5 p.m. at City Hall. At the Urban Enterprise Board meeting in August, 2 business grants were approved for Development Alliance and Downtown Delights. And earlier this year, a business grant was approved for the Bon Viet restaurant located at 501 Lincoln Way for exterior paint and repairs. They plan to be open in October. This month's meeting of the UEA is on Wednesday, September 21st at 4 p.m. at the LEAP offices. And the Alcohol Beverage Review Commission met last month to review an application from the Thaddeus Sea Gallery, and it was approved. It's on tonight's agenda, and I will recuse myself from the vote tonight, as I did at the Review Commission meeting last month.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The Airport Authority will meet next Wednesday, September 14th at 5:15 at the airport. And the HPC will be next Wednesday as well, September 14th at 5:30 here in council chambers. That is a week early from a typical schedule.
Thank you. 2022 council appointments to Business Improvement District Board.
If I could, I'd ask the President, Thaddeus Cutler, to come forward, if you want to make a couple
President
comments.
Cutler.
Actually, both of these appointments we're very excited about. Obviously, with Courtney Dickman, we always love new business owners, fresh eyes for old problems, and the addition of Tommy Vieri, his developers and his skills in that arena, especially when we're talking about redesigning all of downtown. We're excited about his addition as well.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion for the appointments that we've discussed.
I'd second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Ficus.
An ordinance establishing allowable costs in accordance with Subpart E of 2 CFR 200.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Could we get clarity on this?
I think maybe Courtney could explain it best, but.
Yeah.
This is something that the State Board of Accounts during our recent audit, because we have several federal grants that fall under the city of LaPorte, asked us to have as part of a policies and procedures, so we're putting it in ordinance form. Nick can probably, Mr. Otis can probably speak more to the actual ordinance than I can, but it does speak to costs associated with federal grants.
The State Board of Accounts asks that we specifically delineate what costs are allowable and not allowable when you receive a federal grant. So obviously there's, anytime you receive a grant, depending on the size of it, there's a lot of different costs that can be associated with administering the grant, whether we're spending the money directly or giving it to a third party. We have to make sure that the grant meets these Code of Federal Regulation guidelines to comply with the State Board of Accounts.
Further, any questions? Hearing none, I do have a motion and a second. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Councilwoman Konechny.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce an ordinance read through the statement and purpose of intent this evening.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Konechny.
An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, annexing to and bringing within the city limits of LaPorte, Indiana, and amending the zoning ordinance for property located in Scipio Township, contiguous here within. Name of petition, LaPorte Municipal Airport Authority. Common address, vacant parcel of real estate located within close proximity of the LaPorte Municipal Airport. Statement of purpose and intent. A petition for voluntary annexation and for the zoning of the total of plus or minus 49.6 acres located in Scipio Township, LaPorte County, has been filed by the sole owner of the land and the territory sought to be annexed and zoned. It is the intent and purpose of this ordinance to annex this territory to the city of LaPorte, Indiana, and establish a zoning district for this territory.
So I'll have Mr. Otis, if you could give a little clarity on this.
Obviously, this has been in various forms before the council this summer. This is the first reading. At the next meeting, you'll have a second reading, and then also the fiscal plan for this annexation. There, as you recall, a lot of public comment about this annexation. Just to be clear, I think most of the public comment had to do more with the potential realignment of the runway. Whether or not the alignment ever happens, we recommend that this be annexed into the city so that the city maintains zoning control over this parcel, just as the city annexed up about 10 parcels 3 or 4 years ago. This will also be rezoned from its agricultural to airport, and that goes through the Plan Commission this month as well. So just to be clear, the realignment is a totally separate issue. Obviously, we hope that eventually that happens, but whether it does or not, highly recommend that this be annexed. And Mr. Volk from the airport is here, and I don't know if Ed's shaking his head no, that he doesn't have any comment tonight. So any other questions that I didn't answer?
Questions from the council? Hearing none, we will now move this to the September 19th. 20th, maybe?
Let me look, I think it is the
19th.
Is the 19th?
September 19th meeting. President Frankie.
Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read in its entirety for the first time.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? President Frankie.
An ordinance regulating the use of golf carts within the corporate limits of the city of LaPorte. Whereas there is an interest in the use of golf carts operated on the public streets, roads, alleys, and walkways within the city of LaPorte, Indiana, and whereas the Common Council of the City of LaPorte believes that to help preserve the health and safety of its citizens, that it is necessary to regulate the use of golf carts operated on the streets, roads, alleys, and walkways within the city limits. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that Section 1, for purposes of the ordinance, a golf cart shall be included in the definition of a slow-moving vehicle as the same as defined in Indiana Code 9-21-9-1 as a vehicle that is 1, pulled, 2, towed, 3, self-propelled, or 4, animal-drawn, that is not under ordinary circumstances moved, operated, or driven at a speed greater than 25 miles per hour. Golf carts cannot be operated on state highways per state statute. Section 2, to operate a golf cart on any street, alley, or road within the city limits of the city of LaPorte, a driver of such golf cart must be at least 16 years and 180 days of age and hold either an identification card issued under Indiana Code 9-24-16 or a photo-exempt identification card issued under Indiana Code 9-24-16.5. See Indiana Code 9-24-1-7 for more information. Operating a golf cart is the same as operating a motor vehicle. Operators of said golf carts should not operate their cart or vehicle under the influence of alcohol or drugs, as you can be arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs on a golf cart. Open container laws regarding possession of alcoholic beverages in motor vehicles and public places shall apply to operators and passengers of golf carts as described under Indiana Code 9-30-15-3, subsection 4. Indiana Code restricting the use of a telecommunications device while operating a moving motor vehicle shall apply to the operation of a golf cart and will be subject to the same restrictions as under Indiana Code. See Indiana Code 9-21-8-59 for more information. Section 3, all golf carts must have insurance for use on public streets, and said golf cart and have proof of such insurance in the golf cart at all times during the operation of said golf carts in the city of LaPorte, Indiana, and must be provided to town staff during registration. Section 4, Indiana Code requires that all slow-moving vehicles, including golf carts, must display a red or amber flashing light at times when headlamps are necessary for other motor vehicles, which light must be visible from no less than 500 feet from the rear of the golf cart or vehicle. In addition, said golf cart must be equipped with headlights and taillights that are in working order if operated at times when headlamps are necessary for other vehicles. In addition, said golf cart must have operational turn signals on the front and rear of the golf cart. In addition, all golf carts must be equipped with a rear view mirror that is operational. Section 5, while operating said golf cart within the city of LaPorte, any operator of the same must abide by all state and local traffic laws and ordinances in the operation of said golf cart. Golf carts are not to be driven or parked on the public sidewalks or trails. Section 6, all provisions of the slow-moving vehicle statute of the state of Indiana found at Indiana Code 9-21-9 shall be adhered to always by those operating a golf cart within the city of LaPorte. Golf carts are not to be driven over curbs or over others' private property. Golf carts will use regular designated parking spaces within the city of LaPorte and public parks. Section 7, any person who wishes to operate a golf cart in the city of LaPorte must register the same with the LaPorte Police Department and pay a registration fee of $60 on an annual basis and have attached to said golf cart a sticker provided by the city noting said vehicle has been properly registered with the city. Registrants who apply for a golf cart permit after September 15th each year will pay a registration fee of $40 A copy of the city registration form must be kept in the vehicle when operated on public streets. The required registration sticker, along with an improved traffic safety slow-moving vehicle sign, must be visibly mounted to the rear of the vehicle, and the registration sticker must remain visible at all times during operation of the vehicle. Section 8, while in operation, such golf carts must carry no more passengers than such golf carts are equipped to handle, and all passengers must be seated at all times. Children under 36 inches in height are not to be passengers on golf carts on public streets, alleys, or roads in the city of LaPorte. Under no circumstances should a child under the age of 16 years and 180 days old be allowed to operate a golf cart in the city of LaPorte, and adult passengers or drivers are not to hold passengers on their lap while the vehicle is in operation. Section 9, no golf cart shall be allowed in any area of the city of LaPorte designated as a park without the prior approval of the park department superintendent. Golf carts shall remain only in areas designated for vehicles unless otherwise approved by the park superintendent. Handicap access will be allowed with written permission from the park superintendent only to and from boat rental piers operated by the park department. Golf carts will not be driven and/or parked on any grassy area within the public park. Section 10, if a person cannot meet any of the above criteria, that person may make a written request with the city of LaPorte for an exemption to the provisions of this ordinance. Such written request shall set forth the item or items that cannot be met by said person and the reasons for that, and shall state why the common council shall have the authority to grant or deny any such exemptions following the receipt of such a written request and the appearance of the person making such request at a common council meeting by establishing in writing the reasons for granting or denying of the exception so requested. Section 11, anyone violating any of the provisions of this ordinance shall be subject to a fine of $150 per violation. If a person is cited for a violation of the ordinance more than 3 times, the registration shall be revoked for that individual and/or golf cart, and said individual and/or golf cart shall no longer be allowed to operate in the city limits of the city of LaPorte under this ordinance at the discretion of the LaPorte Police Department. Section 12, this ordinance shall become effective on January 1st, 2023. End of ordinance.
Thank you, President Frankie. It's pretty clear here, but would you like to add any comments of this ordinance?
Well, golf carts are allowed in the county, currently not in the city, and I've had several people reach out requesting this, and I think it makes sense, especially as you see gas prices rise. As long as you follow state guidelines, I don't think it's an issue, on city streets. I can certainly see it if you're driving down Highway 35, but on the speed limit's pretty much 30 or below throughout our streets. I think it's a safe and effective way of transportation.
And this did come before Traffic Commission as well, and we discussed it at length. And I think everybody has seen a golf cart out. That's like obvious. So I think this is in place. This is good. This keeps them safe. This has rules and regulations. So I do think it's a good thing because people are going to drive their golf carts.
I have a question. Section 9.
Woman Cutler.
Thank you. Section 9, City of LaPorte designated as park. Are the Chessie Trail and the trail around Clear Lake, are those considered park, or like could a
Like on
golf
Chessie
cart?
Trail, there's no motorized vehicles. I
Oh,
know
there's no
that,
motor-
so
there's
you wouldn't
signage
be
for
able
that?
to
Okay, and then
on
so
that.
Clear Lake.
And this does say,
Have you ever had an issue with anyone complaining about, I'm just wondering.
I think one of the best provisions that was put into this ordinance is that it does outline that people should not be on the trails. Basically, the width of our trails varies anywhere from 12 feet to 8 feet. So when we have pedestrians and bikes and other types of what we'd call alternative transportation on those trails, to put a golf cart on those trails, I think causes a grave safety issue. So I appreciate that. We're actually going through a Greenway master plan revision right now. One of those things is going to be to detail exactly what can and cannot be on our trails. But golf carts are definitely something that should not be on the trails that are for alternative
Thank you.
transportation.
Thank
And
you
really
for
anywhere
clarifying.
on park land.
No, not on the beach, not on the grass, and people can take advantage of that. And certainly, there are certainly going to be some cause for exception, but as a general rule, no, we don't want golf carts on the beach, or we don't want them on the ball diamonds or on the grass, so. But I definitely appreciate the spirit of this ordinance.
Councilman Galloway?
Yeah. Your Honor, if it's same as operating a motor vehicle, it has all this stuff, they should be going to B&V and getting a plate. We've been through this before here, several years ago.
Well, the issue, in order to get a plate, the restrictions or requirements are even more tedious than this. It has to
Good.
go, I think, 40 miles an hour.
Well-
You have to have a special kind of glass on the window.
Well, I don't know how we're gonna enforce it anyway. You got too many kids running around now with mopeds and stuff like that. I mean, hey, and this one where they're gonna come back before the city council? Are you kidding? So we're gonna have to wind up deciding, just because somebody can't get something on there that states in, I don't know, this. Sorry, guys, this bunch of crap. Can't help it. It just didn't make any sense to me. No seatbelts? I didn't see one thing in there about a seatbelt.
Well, they are slow-moving vehicles, so,
Well, it seems that if you live on Michigan Avenue and you take your golf cart and drive it quietly, slowly down Michigan Avenue into Beechwood, you wouldn't be racing down the road, or it doesn't seem like it would pose a threat. As long as people aren't crossing or driving onto the state highway, I don't know that I don't see the same problem, I guess, as Roger's pointing out.
Further questions?
Yeah, can we get the fire chief in here, please?
Chief Snyder, would you like to join us?
He's on Traffic Commission as well.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear his answer.
Yeah, as mentioned, it did go before the Traffic Commission. There was a lot of discussion. Like Councilman Galloway mentions, we did consider this once before. I think a lot of things have been answered with the current ordinance in front of you as opposed to what we had before. It's been tried in a lot of other communities, so that's why it was a unanimous decision that came out of the Traffic Commission. On the safety side of it, yes, I mean, we would have reservations at times with the safety side, but we do that with everybody. We would just ask everybody to be very careful and very cognizant of all the other motor vehicles around them. It is a different situation, I believe, than what we had before when it was presented, that we didn't have near the detail that this ordinance has in it.
Questions for
Thank
Chief
you.
Snyder? Thank you. Further comments from the council?
I think we did get clarity. They cannot drive these on state highways, which would be obviously the main thoroughfares of the city, Indiana, Lincoln Way, and Pine Lake Ave. You can cross those roads, but you cannot drive on them with these vehicles.
Further comments? This will move for second reading on September 19th. Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read for the first time in its entirety.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Ficus.
Additional appropriation for ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, Fund Number 2401. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget. Now therefore, Section 1, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the fund named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, Fund Number 2401, Park and Recreation Facility Improvements Civic Auditorium, amount requested $54 million, amount approved $5,400,000, sorry. Total $5,400,000. End of ordinance.
So this is an
If we had
ordinance
54 million.
Superintendent Schreiber, would you like to speak on this?
Thank you. So this is something we've been discussing really for the last year, and I appreciate the council's attention to it. What this basically is going to allow us to do is continue to work with Schneider Electric, who has been working on these projects under a performance contract. They have established minimum price for the HVAC improvements, which would be $4,519,301, and then also for seating replacement, which also will allow us to do work on the aisleways and add railings at a price that will not exceed $894,488. As you know, I mean, the Civic Auditorium is over 90 years old now. It was gifted to the city in 1929, and we simply feel like we have an obligation to make sure it's viable for the next generation. When you think of all the community service, the recreation and tourism that it means to our community. Civic has hosted hundreds of fundraisers over the years that have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for nonprofit organizations, running the full gamut. But it has also been used in troubled times for COVID testing, 18 months of COVID testing that it housed, COVID vaccinations, blood drives, food drives. It has been a sheltering place during emergencies. We all have the sentimental feelings, and we got that a little bit earlier in the meeting, of proms and weddings, and enjoyed concerts in the circus and other events that have taken place there. But its importance to our community far exceeds just those memories. It means something tangibly to the citizens' lives here, of quality of life, but then also of service to the community. The current heating at the Civic, as it was mentioned earlier, comes from boilers. It's radiated low-pressure steam heat. Those boilers were installed in 1967 and 71. We've been talking about this at the Finance Committee level since I've been superintendent, since 2014. It appears in master plans well before that of how do we get beyond that, and this is our opportunity. What this will do is create a hybrid system to allow us to have forced air upstairs in the auditorium, which will allow us to heat it more efficiently, but it more importantly will allow us to have air conditioning and expand the number of months that we can comfortably hold events to 12 months out of the year. And as we mentioned about the seating, it's just going to add to the customer the enjoyment they have when they go to the events at the Civic, but it's all about ADA, widening those aisles, making it safer for everybody as well. So we just want to see these continued improvements go through. And one thing to remember about this price tag is that it includes the engineering, includes the bidding, and includes the construction management and commissioning. So this isn't just a construction cost. Oftentimes you'll see a construction cost. This takes the whole process all the way through. So I think that's something important to keep in mind. So I know Nick Minnick is here, Brett Benversi, the Civic Auditorium Director and City Events Director is here, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions from the council? It's been a long process that you have all been involved in. Thank you. With that, Mark, thank you very much. We will now open up for public hearing. So I will now open up for public comment. I think you have
I do.
affidavit.
I have an affidavit of publication for the Herald Dispatch. This additional appropriation was advertised on August 27th, 2022 in the LaPorte County Herald Dispatch.
Anybody from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Anybody from the public? Comments from the public? I will now close the public hearing. Further comments from council? Hearing none, we will now move this, as this is an ordinance, to the September 19th meeting. Councilman Vincent.
Honorable Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for a resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Vincent.
A resolution amending Resolution Number R-12-2022, identifying the City of LaPorte's plan for the use of American Rescue Plan funds. Whereas the City of LaPorte Common Council passed Ordinance 13-2021, which was created to accept funding through the American Rescue Plan Act, herein ARP, And whereas ordinance 13-2021 provides for the city of LaPorte by and through the mayor and the common council shall develop a plan that will provide specific details as to the use of the ARP funds. And whereas the city of LaPorte by and through the mayor and the common council have developed the following amended plan for the use of ARP funds. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. Section 1, that ARP funds shall be used for the following transformational projects for the city of LaPorte. Affordable workforce housing development and workforce housing incentives in the amount of $1,642,930. Civic auditorium venue upgrades, including roof, HVAC, updated seatings, and marquee sign in the amount of $6,046. Truesdale Avenue and Clear Lake Loop improvements in the amount of $2 million. City of LaPorte Parks Department maintenance equipment in the amount of $850,000. Emergency response team equipment and training, $100,000. Winterfest ice rink, $58,020. 2022 police and fire safety salary increases, including Medicare, $825,500. Section 2, that the use of ARP funds as identified above is in compliance with the appropriate legal uses for the ARP funds. Section 3, that the clerk treasurer of the city of LaPorte be and is hereby authorized to take all necessary action to effect the above expenditures. End of resolution.
This is a resolution. Do I have a motion to pass?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Courtney Parthun, our clerk treasurer, if you could give a brief description of what this does.
So council passed a resolution on July 5th, 2022, which was the initial resolution identifying the city of LaPorte's plan to use American Rescue Plan funds, which was actually initially put in place in 2021 when we passed ordinance number 13-2021. So again, we're complying with State Board of Accounts. When the plan for American Rescue Plan funds pivots, we need to amend the resolution, and that's just what this is doing. So
Do I have a motion to approve? I think I do.
Yeah.
And a second. For any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 6-0. That is government bureaucracy and process at its best. Councilwoman Cutler.
I move to introduce a resolution read for the first and only time in its entirety.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, Councilwoman Cutler.
Additional appropriation for Business Improvement District Fund Number 2511 and seated Fund Number 2209. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget. Now therefore, Section 1, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, LaPorte County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the fund named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Business Improvement District Fund Number 2511, amount requested $100,000, amount approved $100,000. Seated Fund Number 2209, amount requested $150,000, amount approved $150,000. Total $250,000. End of resolution.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Mr. Phillips or Mr. President Cutler, would you like to speak on this briefly?
Yeah, many of you noticed downtown, especially around the 4th of July, we did several major repairs this year to planters, light posts, pavers. And basically, we're just asking, we need a little more money in the budget to see us through to the end of the year, because obviously the snow removal is going to be upon us soon, and we never know what that brings. It can be very costly years. Other times, we hardly spend anything. And I just want to say publicly, if I may, a lot of people confuse the Business Improvement District, and they believe that their taxes go and then help pay for this. You actually have to be a building owner in downtown within the Business Improvement District. And it's actually not a tax, it's a levy on your property tax form. And all that money goes into a big pool which we actually have to budget out and then spend the money on the maintenance of the bid. The easiest way to describe the bid too is if you're in downtown and you look down below your feet and you see decorative pavers, you are in the bid. If you look down and see concrete or a city street, you are not in the bid. And we take care of everything from trash receptacles, light posts, benches, the pavers, obviously the planters, the planting of the planters, the irrigation system that waters the flowers. So basically, I just wanted to make that publicly clear. Sometimes there's some confusion that they believe it's their taxes that actually pay for this, and it doesn't.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just add
State
that,
your name for the record.
Craig Phillips,
Thank you.
Community Development and Planning Director for the city. I would just add that, as we all know, the infrastructure that was installed in the Business Improvement District is aging to a point where things are needed to be repaired more often than in previous years. And it came to our attention earlier this year that there was a significant amount of repair that needed to be made to various elements that are part of the bid district's infrastructure. So this is the reason for the additional request this evening. So we've also been doing a lot of work to update our inventories, to understand the condition of all the infrastructure in the bid district, so that we can have intelligent conversations about how to move forward in terms of changes we make in the future. We're also considering long-term improvements, how we can perhaps look at doing things differently in the future so we don't have to cost the city as much going forward in these types of infrastructure. So you'll see more about that in the coming months.
And thank you for your partnership with the bid to get this done. I think we've got business owners that are happy. I think Charity's happy, and others. In the pavers, it's taken too long, and I thank you for stepping up and getting it done with our president here.
Thanks.
Can I add, the bid does have a really healthy cash reserve as a percent of their disbursements in 2023's proposed budget. They're at 84% cash reserves after this additional appropriation. And likewise, the additional appropriation for CDIT, their cash reserves as a percent of disbursements for 2023's proposed budget is 62.4%.
Further discussion? I do have a motion
More budgeting correctly.
and a second. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Councilman Galloway.
Ooh, that had to have a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to back, I apologize. I do need to amend that motion, approved motion, and add a public hearing. We do have an affidavit as a part of that public hearing. Would you like to state that?
I will. Let me find it. Oh, I put it aside, sorry. This additional appropriation was advertised in the LaPorte County Herald-Dispatch on August 27th, 2022 as well.
Anybody from the public that would like to speak on this? Anybody from the public? Public comment? Anybody? Hearing none, I will now close the public comment. Do I have an amended motion to approve?
You did it the first time.
So amended.
Second.
I have an amended approval and second. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Councilman Galloway.
Your Honor, I'd like to introduce a resolution for a reading one time only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Galloway.
Resolution to transfer funds within the 2022 budgets. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in the 2022 budgets in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2022. General Fund, Park, 2204 and 803. From 111 salaries to 221 operating supplies, $5,000. From 361 repairs maintenance to 221 operating supplies, $5,000. From 123 unemployment to 232 repairs maintenance supplies, $2,500. From 111 salaries to 241 other supplies, $3,000. Beechwood, 220-800. From 241 other supplies to 221 operating supplies, $10,000. From 241 other supplies to 315 professional services, $4,000. From 361 repairs maintenance to 391 other services, $2,000. Board of Works, 1101-077, from 341 workman's comp / audit to 342 liability / deductions, $15,000. And the resolution.
This is a resolution. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Schreiber, would you like to speak on the Park and Beechwood portion briefly?
Very briefly, the high cost of gas. I mean, if it continues to rain, we have so much park, so much golf course to maintain. The cost of gas obviously affected our operating supplies.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Schreiber? Would you like to add about the Board of Works?
Yeah, sure. That our deductibles, we usually budget for about $15,000 worth of deductibles for the year. I know it says deductions. That's supposed to say deductibles. My apologies. And we've had significantly more deductibles that we've had to pay out this year. Although our workers' comp insurance came in significantly lower than we budgeted for, so that's great. So we have a little bit of money to move over, so.
But that does include those that are making contact with the planters downtown.
Stop hitting the planters downtown.
That would help. We've had quite a few
Or
of
give us your
those.
insurance so that we can charge you.
All right, I do have a motion and a second. Questions, comments from the council? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. President Frankie.
Like, drew the lucky stick tonight and get all the fun ordinances and resolutions. I move to introduce a resolution read in its entirety for the first and only time.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Council, or President Frankie.
Resolution of the Common Council of LaPorte, Indiana, approving application for a municipal riverfront alcohol permit filed by Thaddeus C. Cutler. Whereas Indiana Code Section 7.1-3-20, the Act, authorizes the legislative body of a city or town within the state of Indiana to designate and establish the boundaries of a municipal river development project within its territorial boundaries. And whereas Section 16 of the Act allows the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission to issue a three-way, two-way, or one-way non-transferable permit to sell alcoholic beverages for on-premises consumption only to an applicant who is the proprietor, as owner or leasee, or both, of a restaurant within a municipal riverfront development project funded in part with the state and city money without regard to any permit quotas as required by Indiana Code Section 7.1-3-22, all in furtherance of economic development. And whereas the city of LaPorte is carrying out redevelopment activities along Lily Lake Channel, which is located within a redevelopment area known as TIF 1, established by the LaPorte Redevelopment Commission Resolution 7-2019, under the authority of provided in Indiana Code Section 36-7-14, known as the project area. And whereas on August 28th, 2019, the LaPorte Redevelopment Commission, known as the Commission, adopted resolution number 7-2019, recommending the creation of a municipal riverfront development project to encourage economic growth and development in the project area, along with local rules governing the issuance and renewal of applications for any permit authorized pursuant to the terms of this resolution. And whereas the Act authorizes the municipal riverfront development project to have boundaries of up to 3,000 feet or 6 city blocks from the waterway. And whereas the Commission has determined that the boundaries of the municipal riverfront development project should be as identified on Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. And whereas on November 1st, 2021, the Common Council adopted a resolution R-18-2021, whereby the Common Council designated the area identified on Exhibit A as a municipal riverfront development project pursuant to Indiana Code Section 7.1-3-20-16 and 16.1, and whereas the Common Council thereafter established the LaPorte Alcoholic Beverage Review Committee to recommend to the Common Council and Mayor applications for alcohol permits that the LABRC will strengthen the economic vitality of the municipal riverfront district and the entire community. And whereas the LABRC has indicated that it has received an application from Thaddeus C. Cutler dated August 4th, 2022 for a three-way riverfront alcohol permit for Thaddeus C. Gallery, 822 Lincoln Way, LaPorte, Indiana, 46350, known as the application, which the LABRC believes will strengthen the economic vitality of the municipal riverfront district and entire community. And whereas the LABRC has made a recommendation to the Common Council that the council approve the request of Thaddeus C. Cutler in the application, and that the mayor certify to the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission that Thaddeus C. Cutler has met the statutory requirements to obtain a retailer's alcohol permit for beer, wine, and liquor pursuant to the City of LaPorte's Riverfront Development Ordinance. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte that, number one, the request of Thaddeus C. Cutler for a three-way riverfront alcohol permit at Thaddeus C. Cutler, 822 Lincoln Way, LaPorte, Indiana, 46350 is hereby approved. Number two, the mayor shall certify to the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission that Thaddeus C. Cutler has met the statutory requirements to obtain a retailer's alcohol permit for beer, wine, and liquor pursuant to the City of LaPorte's Riverfront Development Ordinance. Number three, Thaddeus C. Cutler is hereby permitted to apply for a retailer's alcohol permit for beer, wine, and liquor with the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission under the City of LaPorte's Riverfront Development Ordinance. Number four, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after adoption. End of resolution.
Great job. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion, and I'd just like to say the downtown is moving forward. There's plenty of options for people to do things, and I think this is a very positive addition to what's already downtown, so I'm excited for this. Comments from the council, questions?
I would comment because I used the gallery to get things framed, and I think what was mentioned was that they do host a lot of events, and it would be a good addition to their business to be able to have this license. I don't know that we want to get into them commenting, but I can't imagine there's not going to be, these are going to be unique events, not common, I think, everyday events is what I
I'm
suspect.
trying not to
Yeah,
comment. You
yeah.
could call
I was
Thaddeus
going to
up and
say,
ask, I think.
Thaddeus, would you like to come up and?
Thank you.
So over the course of us, we owning a business downtown, and we've had everything, well, obviously we've had tons of fine art exhibitions, but we've had everything from book signings, intimate music concerts. We've had political fundraisers, both sides. And we've had service club luncheons as well. And at pretty much every one of these, we've always had to cater. Everything's had to be brought out from the outside in. And so we'd love to be able to, diversify our business and be able to offer this service as well, not just the space, but also the refreshments that you get at the space. Another thing that's actually kind of cool about this is when this became available, what we got really excited about is we get constant emails about people wanting to bring more installation, immersive, experience type art forms to the gallery. The hard part is it's the kind of thing that you can't sell, but you can experience. So now with this potential additional revenue stream, we can actually invite these people in and open it to the public. So I'm really excited about that as well.
Questions for Mr. Cutler? Hearing none. Further comment from the council?
No, it looks like you guys are well within the Riverfront District from the map that's here, so everything's good there.
Councilwoman Cutler will abstain. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, we're excited. Councilwoman Cutler.
Your Honor, I move to introduce a resolution read for the first and only time in its entirety.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Cutler.
Resolution approving use of a tax abatement on personal property taxes created by the purchase of new manufacturing equipment. Whereas Mackey Precision Machining LLC, herein MPM, has requested of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte approval to use a tax abatement on personal property taxes created by the purchase of $1 million in new manufacturing equipment at 720 Boyd Boulevard, LaPorte, Indiana 46350. And whereas it is in the public interest that the City of LaPorte avail itself of the Economic Revitalization Area Statement of Benefits provided by Indiana Code Section 6-1.1-12.1-4.5 to stimulate economic growth within the community. And whereas on August 31st, 2022, MPM filed with the city planner as required an application for consideration for a statement of benefits. And whereas MPM has filed an economic revitalization area statement of benefits for personal property tax deduction for its operation within the city of LaPorte. And whereas MPM agrees to comply with the conditions set forth in Resolution Number 90-2, Section 7. Whereas MPM intends to purchase 720 Boyd Boulevard, LaPorte, Indiana 46350 of industrial zone property and will purchase $1 million in new equipment. Due to the purchase of this equipment, MPM will employ 5 new employees and will grow to 10 employees over the next 5 years. Whereas the city planner has prepared a report concerning such deductions. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte as follows. 1, that the estimate of up to 10 for the number of jobs to be created can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed personal property improvements. 2, that the estimate of $22 per hour, which is approximately $44,000 for annual salaries of the new jobs to be created, can reasonably be expected to result from purchasing $1 million in new equipment. And 3, personal property tax abatement on a 5-year term utilizing a flat 50% savings schedule as outlined in Appendix A. End of resolution.
So this is a resolution. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Bert Cook, if you'd like to come up and speak on this behalf. Seems like in every other month situation of a new business in LaPorte.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Good evening to Council. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. As the Mayor kind of alluded to, we've done quite a few of these over many of years here with the council, but it is a tax abatement. The company Mackey Precision Machining, it's Jeff Mackey, who many of us know, who's owned a variety of ventures here in the city of LaPorte and LaPorte County over the years. This is a new one. It's $1 million in new manufacturing equipment. He is purchasing 720 Boyd Boulevard, which was formerly the home of Wind Machine. Terrific building, and I think it'll be a great home for this business as well. 5 jobs to start, growing to 10 over the course or the term of the incentive, which is 5 years. That is different than typical tax abatement, which is normally 10. And it is a 50% flat saving. So he will pay 50% and he will save 50% of his personal property tax liability over that time period. If you're interested, the total tax liability is $47,520 over that 5-year period, and he would save $23,760 approximately if you move forward and allow him to use this incentive. Recommendation would be to approve this. It's a great company. The jobs are those quality jobs that we're looking for, $22 an hour plus benefits. And it's a trusted name in LaPorte County as well, with Jeff Mackey being the principal. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Questions for Mr. Cook? Hearing none. Comments from the council. I do have a motion and a second. Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Welcome, Mackey Precision Machining to LaPorte.
Thank you.
other business, I'd just like to remind everybody, Saturday, Brett Benversi, the man that brings events everywhere in the city of LaPorte, will be having Wellness Day out at the Farmers Market. It begins at 8 a.m. So please come out. There's all kind of events. You can have your blood tested, right? Blood pressure tested and all kinds of, so please stop out. And then number 2, our firefighters, in recognition of 9/11, will be doing the Memorial Stair Walk at Kiwanis Stadium at 7:40. There will be a ceremony Sunday on 9/11, and then I think the walk begins, or the climb begins at 7:50, and they'll walk, and the public is invited to participate, 73 rounds up and down of the stairs. If you're not ready to do that, you can walk around the track there as well, but they do that every year, and it's a neat thing, so. Further questions?
I think just a reminder, the Sunflower Fair is this month as well, before our next meeting.
September 17th, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Brett.
Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Have a great night, everybody.
Sarah could have seconded it.
See you tomorrow, Laura.
Who's your first pick?
Congratulations.
Okay, I need you to sign this.
Yep.
Trying to get into
Tax
doing it there.
abatement, I need your nickname, tax abatement resolution.